We are back with more fire for you guys. PROPY News Part 1, the major AI breakthrough for real estate on chain. Also featuring Anthony Pompliano and more, guys. I'm going to dive right into this one. I'm not going to delay you at all. It's about an hour long, so get comfortable. PROPY, one of my favorites RWA plays. Let's get into it, guys.
Okay, welcome everybody to the spaces. We have a very, very amazing space coming up today with PROPY. And I'm so excited to see all of you here. I've been really, really just waiting on this space because there's some big announcements to be made today. And it's just a really momentous occasion and also a really important inflection point in the industry. And so it's very exciting for me to host this space today on behalf of PROPY. My name is Megan Nilsson. I go by Crypto Megan. I have the Crypto Megan podcast on Tim Draper's Draper TV. And it's great to see a lot of familiar faces here from previous spaces, just some brilliant minds. So we're going to unpack a lot of things today, but it's a very special spaces indeed. For years, we've talked about crypto. We've talked about real world adoption of blockchain, and the bridge between crypto and something as tangible as real estate has always felt so far away. It's felt like it's been, something untangible and unreachable up until now. So today that's going to change. And we're joined by the team behind PROPY, the company that executed the first ever NFT home sale, put titles on chain, and is now using AI to redefine how real estate transactions close. So there's a lot to unpack in this episode and a lot of big ideas and big topics. Speaking of big ideas, actually, the reason why I was so excited for this space is that it just seems that every time PROPY, gathers together all of these key thought leaders and brilliant minds, it sort of defines the upcoming trends and innovation that's going to happen. And it's just incredible. I know we had one with Kathy Wood not too long ago who said the tech was ready. Tim Draper was also on the space alongside a lot of the speakers today. And they're very forward thinkers, right? And she said the tech was ready then. It was a while back. Now we're in execution mode. So it's so exciting to see that transition from the tech is ready to execution, and PROPY is doing it in a very big way. So I'd like to announce our speakers today. We've got some more brilliant minds. Anthony Pompliano, Bill Tai, Michael Casey, who is also an advisor for PROPY, and Natalia Karayanova, who is PROPY's founder and CEO. So we're going to get into it very shortly here, but just a quick note for everybody tuning in. If you're in New York City, PROPY is hosting a live PROPY activation at Times Square tomorrow. That's Thursday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. And everybody is welcome to join and be part of it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So on that note, Natalia, let's just get right into this. You've been building this for years, and I'm just curious, why don't you share what's new?
Hi, Megan. Hi, everyone. What an exciting day for PROPY, for RWAs, for AI innovation. Today marks a major leap forward for real estate and for us. We're launching not only a $100 million expansion plan, but also our first AI agent, Agent Avery. She's also listening our talk today. And it's the world's first AI escrow officer, automating about 70% of the work that goes into a property closing. For decades, closings meant endless paperwork, manual compliance, wire fraud risk, deed fraud risks, and waiting for a month for completion of every single transaction, and a lot of fees adding up and creating even more problems for housing affordability in America. So AI agent Avery changes all that. She opens transactions automatically. She manages documents, compliance, but also she's just a fun personality. We have created profiles for her on X, Instagram, and TikTok. So feel free to find her here. Probably will bring her as a speaker and follow her because we want to create a little bit humanized profile for her with a lot of real estate humor coming along. But her main job is to close transactions, to become co-pilot of our for our closers. Now, the big part of this announcement today, and we were very fortunate to get a number of articles and coverage by CoinDesk, Forbes, Housing Wire today. So the big piece of it is expanding nationally through acquisitions of existing profitable title companies. We are helping those title companies to automate, to bring more efficiency to transactions. But also, what it means for us is increasing our revenue faster than we're doing with organic growth, which is still going really, really well. But expansion through a roll up makes a tons of sales to make a faster national expansion. So we're very, very excited about today's news. Yeah, and I'm very grateful for Anthony and Bill and Michael to be here today to uncover more about what's next for real estate on chain.
Wow, that's truly amazing. That's huge, Natalia. Congrats to you and the team. From the first NFT home to now an AI escrow officer is really full circle innovation, and AI is just. I mean, speaking of Kathy Wood, who was joining one of the previous spaces with PROPY, the Big Ideas report came out and said that AI is just going to be one of the 5 technologies that just skyrockets us as humans on this earth in productivity like we've never seen before. And it's very cool to see that put into action, to see that concept come to life here with PROPY and with everything that's going to come with all of this automation, right? So that's truly incredible. Also, I will say that there have been some really brilliant minds that have backed PROPY from the beginning, including Tim Draper, who seems to have just a really early vision, alongside Bill Tai, who's also in this space, and all of you, right? You're just really forward thinking. But he believed in PROPY early. He believed in the mission, and building since 2017, and now we're here, and it's real change that is happening, and you're on the cutting edge of that. So it's truly incredible to see. And on that note, I'd like to just kick off this conversation. Anthony, we'll start with you. You've seen countless tech cycles and paradigm shifts. So from your lens, how big is this AI innovation in something as massive as the real estate sector?
Thank you guys so much for having me. Excited about this and excited about what PROPY's doing. I think that there's really 2 different sides of the coin, right? In every kind of tech cycle, you get things that all of the investment dollars, all of the attention ends up actually coming to fruition, and then you get a bunch of stuff that doesn't end up working. And one of the things that I find very fascinating about PROPY's approach here is they essentially are going and they are acquiring businesses that are going to end up being disrupted, and then they are disrupting them internally. One of the advantages to doing that strategy is you get revenue and profit, and then you start stripping out costs by automating. And so it's a way to, 1, scale very quickly, but also 2, as you go and you strip out that cost, you make those businesses more profitable. So I think that is a tried and true strategy. We have seen this, going all the way back to the 1800s, where people would go and they would do it with the railroads and all kinds of stuff. The places where I think that people need to be a little careful in this kind of AI revolution is there will come a time where there is too much investment. I don't think we're there yet or anywhere near there, but that will happen. And that's where you get the market corrections. And the second area is there's a lot of people who are trying to build cool technology, but the actual consumer trends have not yet gotten to the point where they will adopt that technology. We saw this in crypto. There was a lot of cool things that got created, but ultimately did not see the adoption level of that was desired. And so, what's unique here is they're building a piece of technology that specifically does something that people are already doing. So you don't need to wait for a consumer trend change or kind of a business trend change. You're just automating an existing activity. So one of the areas that people just need to be careful for is areas where technology is cool, innovation looks really shiny, but it doesn't seem like people are doing that action yet. That usually is somewhere where it's very easy to see kind of bubbly type behavior.
Right. I think that's really interesting that you mentioned the bubbly type behavior, because there is lots of talk on, whether or not AI is in a bubble. And I think you're truly right. I think that the people who are investing in shiny tech, but waiting for that consumer trend change that you spoke of, are sort of going to be the ones that are causing that correction. Whereas PROPY is really out there executing and doing this in a, ongoing consumer trend that's already, they're just helping that out and making that more automated, right? So there's actually a true business model there that's already functioning and working. So I think that's a really good point. And then Natalia, I'd like to transition. But before I do, I just want to remind you guys that anyone who wants to feel what the future looks like, you can experience it live tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Times Square. It's going to be amazing. PROPY's activation will showcase Agent Avery's debut and the power of the new AI and blockchain ecosystem. So it's a celebration of innovation. Everybody is invited. Guys, if you're in New York, you don't want to miss that. It's a momentous occasion. And so thanks for those thoughts, Anthony. We'll circle back to that. But Natalia, one thing that's the thing that's always drawn me to PROPY is just how you guys are able to. I like what Anthony said about acquiring companies that will be disrupting and then disrupting them in order to create more revenue streams. So, can you let's transition a little bit to another topic here. Can you break down what the buyer or agent experience looks like now with Agent Avery and give us a look into how that actually operates and how she makes closings faster, safer, and more inclusive?
Yeah, absolutely. So the AI agent Avery is introduced in order to bring more efficiency to our closers and the consumer. So Anthony is right. We could be too early with bringing real estate on chain. So when we've been building it for 7 years, we could be early with AI innovation. But when we're dedicated and we know the true value of the technology, we're not afraid to introduce it early on and see how value accrues over years, and then suddenly we have this huge appetite from consumers, from real estate developers to get on board and use our technology. So for about 4 years, our AI machine learning feature has been extracting data from purchase agreements and opening transactions automatically without voice agents or special agents, because technology was not there yet. But it gave us this opportunity to learn more how to have this convergence between blockchain rails and AI. And today, AI agent is a vocal agent that is capable to make calls on behalf of our escrow officers who are licensed. And she's able to save a lot of time for those officers, because while we're building the smart contract settlement layer, blockchain only as good as the connectivity of data that we're able to bring to our platform. So we've built about 20 integrations with different real estate data providers, like recordings with counties, the bank integration, online banking, Inspectify inspections, and raw notarization online. But then a lot of mortgages and a lot of vendors, they don't have one single platform. So we had this issue that we couldn't deliver all data needed for a closing to be happening entirely on chain. And now AI agent comes in and she's capable to make the calls to the vendors that we're still not integrated with and get the critical data, such as mortgage payouts or documents from homeowner associations. So it's incredible to watch how she's communicating, let's say, with a bank or with Chase, and she's requesting information. And then she gets questions about what's the number of the transaction, who is the home buyer, what's the inspiration date. And she's capable to answer all those questions on the spot. She knows the context. She's compliant with RESPA regulation or real estate regulation. She's capable to check all emails daily on behalf of our escrow officers and execute on tasks, either by our escrow officers' requests or with her own intelligence. Of course, we're very careful to not give her tasks that would question the security of our platform, especially privacy. So for now, she's communicating with our vendors only, not clients just yet. But she has her second role, which is a title escrow representative. So she represents the company, and you can check her out on propy.com/Avery, and she's able to answer any questions about PROPY, what the crypto means for our operations, what AI means for our operations. She's capable to answer all those questions about PROPY tokens and set up a call between the realtors and our human sales team. So we're very, very excited of her capabilities and intelligence and compliance.
Wow, that is a true full indeed. I mean, I can't imagine the level of automation here that will elevate this entire experience, which is real estate, which can be very arduous, and there can be a lot of dead ends, and it can really, put people back. So this is a huge, massive step forward for this entire sector. And you brought up something important: is that you wouldn't give her any tasks that would make people question the platform or what's happening there, and that brings in the question of trust and regulation. So for that topic, actually, I'd like to ask you, Michael, a question. So I know you've written for years about how blockchain transforms trust, and now you're advising PROPY on its AI and on-chain infrastructure. So from your perspective, can automation actually increase trust in a human-centric way?
It's a multifaceted question, Megan, and thank you for asking it. Look, I think that if we assume, and this is actually relevant to the other hat that I wear, I'm the chair of the Advanced AI Society, and look, it's our view that AI is tremendous, right? It's going to resolve so many of these sort of very arduous tasks. It'll bring greater efficiency to the way we deal with things. But the idea that it resolves trust is not a given, right? Like, I mean, in fact, one of the problems I have with the way the crypto community has talked about trust over the years is talked about trustlessness as if it is a positive thing. And what they mean by that, of course, that there is no third party intermediary in the middle. But the fact is, we need to have a system that we can trust. And I think the problem with the sort of the major LLM model that we're seeing right now, the OpenAIs, the Anthropics, the others, is that these are black box models that we have no visibility into, and they're just concentrating an enormous amount of AI activity within them. And I think that's actually really dangerous. And I think there is zero trust in that. That is the biggest problem. What we need are systems that combine the provenance and the assurances, the lack of any capacity of a centralized party to control things with AI. And so you've got this marriage within PROPY that I think is really nice, because they've got on-chain settlement, they've got on-chain smart contracts that act. You've got all of that sort of pure blockchain-based transaction capacity, and now you're bringing AI into that. It's just built into a system that has all of that heavy compliance. I'm really glad to see that my old buddy Bill Ty is on this call here, and Bill and I will probably chat a little later about years back when I first got into blockchain. We were exploring a lot of the real estate opportunities here, and I think the level of compliance and just the multiplicity of tasks and regulation that came in real estate made it really hard in those early days to get this done. But PROPY has done the hard yards and basically put all this stuff in place. And so now you can bring AI into that trusted environment. But I just to emphasize, it's not a given that AI will create a more trustworthy environment. It could be the exact opposite. And so it is this combination of blockchain-based provenance and reliable decentralized systems with appropriate compliance, and now AI on top of it, that I think you get to a better system. And at the end of the day, yes, there's a lot of human-centric activity that in real estate that is prone to error, that is prone to corruption as well, a whole host of problems. And removing that should indeed make for a better experience for everybody, and therefore a more trustworthy one. But we do have to get the underlying structure of that system right before we can bring the AI in. And that's what I believe PROPY has done.
Wow, that's pretty massive, and I do agree with you that that's how AI earns trust and not replaces it, right? And like them seeing how it interacts, watching these transactions and really starting to get used to it. I mean, it is a massive change, but I do believe, as you said, that it is going to elevate the experience. Now we just have to get to the next level, which is how do we earn and create that trust? So that is one of the top reflections on our minds as we do start to use AI in a big way here in this industry and in many industries. But wow, just the innovation, so much is going to happen as a result of AI being implemented in the real estate system. I mean, it's just been so archaic of a system for so long. And now not only is it on chain, but we're also combining AI and these powerful technologies that can just amplify production, human production, productivity, and seamlessness, as well as accessibility, which is something else that you brought up, Michael. So I thought that was really interesting. So Natalia, I want to throw this back to you. Why do you think AI is the missing link to bringing real estate on chain?
That's a great question. I think blockchain allows us to bring trust, to bring immutability to a lot of assets, including real estate. With AI, we could be more efficient, more intelligent, and extract data that is hard to extract by other means. And the convergence of all of it is very, very promising. That's what we are now observing with this AI agent Avery and the smart contract rails that we have. AI truly removes friction, while blockchain removes doubt. Together, they create a new kind of trust. It's programmable trust. It's a faster way to settle on assets that are complicated, such as real estate. And I think finally that is the answer to mass adoption of real estate on chain, because so far, as you know, it's the last industry that has not been changed and disrupted. So I truly believe that moving this asset on chain is the answer for the beginning of it, because we cannot move the wall. So it's an asset that is impossible to steal physically, yet ownership is just a record. Almost everywhere in the world, it's already just a digital record. It's not on paper anymore, but those records are very inefficient. And so in order for making efficient settlement and conveyance, we need the help of AI agent to make it compliantly, to collect data, and finally to make closing of a home as fast and transparent and secure. And I think Bill Tai here could really reflect on how hard it has been to bring real estate on chain, whether with working with government or private sector. Bill, thank you so much for joining us. Could you please share? I know you've tried this real
Sure.
estate chain thesis.
Yeah, and I think the timing is finally becoming a lot better, with the change in administration and general awareness of crypto. And I think the underlying technology, there's been no question that if you take the two pieces of what blockchain and AI do, blockchains, obviously, we are all in this industry, and we know that it provides a level of data integrity and access that doesn't exist in the old paper-based world, which is what real estate has been built on, whether it's land title or house title or contracts to buy and sell. And I think the AI automation, as Natalia just said, it takes the friction out of it. So to the extent that you can have high integrity data and low friction processes, it's a benefit to everybody. It just takes that regulatory stamp of approval to let that happen. What Natalia is referring to, I was very, very lucky to get involved in peer-to-peer systems all the way back to 25 years ago. I built a peer-to-peer file storage system that was acquired by Nokia to become their effectively their iCloud that they launched with their web phones in 2006, and also launched the first free-floating digital currency as my avatar in Second Life, Alan Greenspan Gollum. So we had actual digital currency floating around in Second Life 6 years before Bitcoin. And that got me into the Bitcoin space in 2010. So I've been in this segment literally since the start. And 10 years ago, I approached Michael Casey to introduce me to a world famous economist named Hernando de Soto, who had written a book called Mystery of Capital. And the root essence of that book, and the title Mystery of Capital, is about why Western economies actually work around capitalism, because there is a clear block, a building block for capitalism, which is clarity of title of real estate. So 10 years ago, I set out with a group of engineers to basically automate his brain and take the land titling systems that he had implemented, paper-based systems, to create the economies in 13 countries. And we created effectively a blockchain database and what you would call today an AI system to automate its processes. That, by the way, is online. We open source that because we realized we were too early after presenting to the president of Egypt and several other countries. This is all done, by the way, in conjunction with Bitfury. And many of you probably have not been in the space long enough to remember Bitfury, but I was their original backer, and we were probably 40% of the world's Bitcoin infrastructure for about 5 years. And that company has produced a few other public companies. I'm still chairman of the board of a small part of our footprint that we took public that became bigger, called Hut 8. We also chopped off another chunk. That's a public company called Cypher Mining. And through Hut 8, we created American Bitcoin. So we've probably created, I don't know, 15 to 20 billion in market cap out of our little startup that still exists as an investment company. That project with Hernando de Soto led to the land titling system that did get implemented in the country of the Republic of Georgia experimentally in a couple of other places. But recognizing how hard it was to work with governments, we decided not to produce that commercially. And then I ran into Natalia and I was like, go girl, this is a great thing to do. And I've always been a supporter because it was pretty hard. You might also, for those who've been around for a while, if you remember a company, the very, very first DEX, it was actually backed by myself, Joe Lubin, and Mike Novogratz through a company called Fluidity. We launched a DEX called AirSwap that was the pioneering one that ended up, we ended up selling all our shares to Joe, and that team is the team that built all of the MetaMask products. So the exchange that you use today came out of that project. But we also launched something and did a tokenization of a Goldman Sachs condo project. I think it was in 2018. I'll find that and put that in the chat here. But just watching this space evolve, you know, yeah. I've been a capitalist for years, and it's all about time.
It certainly feels as if this is the moment, right? Like, I mean, this you're just seeing all this tokenization initiatives, the stuff we sort of talked about and started looking into and you with Fernando and others 10 years ago. You know, we were early, but this now it's just at every level, you're seeing an enormous amount of interest in taking these real world assets on chain. And, you know, and I think, you know, PROPY is obviously just a huge example of that. Yeah. Megan, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh man, there's so many thoughts, but wow. First of all, it's really incredible to hear the story from a seed investor of Zoom and Canva and just such OGs, if I can use that word. I mean, Michael, also, you guys, you're really early to this vision, and now we're seeing it evolve as we have. And I really like the example of programmable trust. That was spoken about earlier, and also why Western economies work around capitalism and the clarity of real estate. I think that's all very interesting to see how it started and how it's evolved. I absolutely love that story. So thank you, Bill, for telling that. And we will come back around. I just want to throw a question back toward Anthony now on more about PROPY's $100 million roll-up. So if you look at it, they're essentially turning traditional escrow flows into programmable liquidity rails for real estate, gradually bringing the entire industry on chain. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, look, I referenced it earlier, but to me, what I really look at is not so much that this is new or different. This is a extension of a very long-term trend that is a proven strategy in business, which is you go and you roll up inefficient companies, and then you have some way to arbitrage their cost structure versus some new cost structure. And so if you go, you buy up these businesses, and then you start to automate part of their processes, you should be able to rip cost out. If you rip cost out of a business and revenue just stays stagnant, doesn't even grow, the business becomes more profitable and you create enterprise value. And so I think it's very smart to do. And likely what will happen is you'll actually get a dual impact. If executed correctly, you will buy businesses, rip out costs, and drive enterprise value that way. But word will spread as people see lower cost players in the market due to this technology. And so it'll force the people you don't buy to adopt the technology as well, because if they don't, then they're getting beat in the marketplace by somebody who's got a lower cost to deliver a service, and so they can't compete on price. And so it's a way to kind of force the issue, if you will, into a market where you say, hey, I can sell you this technology, but it may take a while for you to actually adopt it. Instead of waiting for you to become convinced to use it, I'm instead just going to go buy some of your competitors, implement the technology, and use market forces to encourage you aggressively to adopt the technology. And so I think that it's very smart. There's a lot of examples throughout history where it's worked, and it's going to be fun to watch them execute this.
Anthony, hi, once again, thank you so much for joining our spaces. As Bill and Michael mentioned, there is a huge impact of bringing property ownership on blockchain or at a better system than it used to be, because it's the foundation of capitalism and democracy, as Hernando de Soto outlined it at the Mystery of Capital book. But it's been kind of a struggle for the past years while we've been building PROPY, that normally the crypto enthusiast is not a typical buyer or investor in real estate. But now we're kind of seeing this shift. I'm seeing that you are very active in promoting home ownership in America. We're seeing Vlad Tenev of Robinhood talking about real estate tokenization. Why do you think now this overlap is happening?
Well, I just think that, coming from the Bitcoin and crypto world, people want to think that this is new, this is different, this is, us against the system. But in reality, when you look at how these new technologies get adopted and integrated, there is going to be no crypto industry in 10 or 20 years. It's just going to be the finance industry or the technology industry. Same way that it used to be the internet versus the legacy companies. Now it is just companies, right? It's just tech companies, or it is finance companies. They all use the internet. Same thing's going to happen here. And so, is BlackRock a traditional finance company, or is BlackRock a Bitcoin company? Well, I'd argue that BlackRock is a Bitcoin company because their most profitable product is coming from Bitcoin. And so, they wouldn't describe themselves that way, but it's true. Same thing as if you look at Robinhood. Is Robinhood a brokerage business, or is it a crypto business? Well, today, I think people would describe it as a brokerage business, but if they push heavily into tokenization, then now all of a sudden they look a lot more like a crypto business. If you think of stable coins, Venmo, PayPal, these other payment providers, they're all starting to adopt this technology. Are they crypto companies, or are they just simply traditional payment companies? So that's where I think this is all headed, is you're actually going to believe that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and kind of crypto technology has been successful when we stop talking about it. And it'll take a while to get there. But if you think about what you guys are doing at PROPY, you're adopting AI, you're adopting crypto, right? But it doesn't matter if somebody categorizes you as an AI company or a crypto company. It simply is, are you actually providing a better service to the market? And if you are, you're going to be able to build a business. And eventually, this will just become the standard, if it works, to the way every single company in the space uses it.
I totally agree with you, Anthony. That's a great futuristic vision on the future, where we don't care anymore about whether one company is an internet company or not. This will happen to blockchain and AI. And to your point, we started utilizing blockchain not because it's fashionable, and it was not back in the days in real estate. And then we started utilizing AI 4 years ago, training it on thousands of our transactions when it was not fashionable or hype just as is today. So if we're building, just utilizing the cutting edge technology for the value of the company, I think that what matters, so that we create these generational companies, generational products that change the world. For the new people here, welcome, and we're announcing big news with PROPY today, and it is announcing $100 million roll-up expansion plan, acquiring national title companies and local title companies. And we've unveiled our first escrow officer, agentic escrow officer, AI agent Avery. She's a speaker here, so you can follow her, and she'll be able to communicate with our community. It's at propy.com/Avery. You can ask her questions about what is PROPY, what is title on chain, how we use AI. and she's also a co-pilot for our escrow officers, a compliant AI agent that is capable to do a lot of tasks so that we bring more efficiency to real estate closings. Megan, the floor is yours.
Yeah, well, just taking in everything that was said, and it's massive what Propy's doing. Congrats on that announcement and the roll up. And I love what Anthony said about, in 10, 20 years, we aren't going to be worried about labels, that it's just going to be embedded in the system. It's not going to be, are you a crypto company or are you an internet company? It's hard to, you get so wrapped up and so in the moment and in the bubble of what you're working on that you don't see the bigger picture, which is, internet eventually was just embedded in the system. And I love the comment about BlackRock. That they could be a Bitcoin company because that's their most profitable product, which is interesting because just a few years ago they were saying that no clients were interested. So it's just how industries evolve, and I really like that observation and that higher level thought process there. So yeah, I think that's super interesting. Guys, I just want to remind you also, for those of you who are, just tuning in now, that Propy will be having an activation in Times Square tomorrow. So if you're in New York City, they're hosting a live activation at Times Square Thursday, October 23rd at 7 p.m. Everybody's welcome. It's going to be incredible. So do show up if you are currently in New York. And on that note, we are going to go back to, I think Natalia has a few more announcements. Natalia, did you want to say anything else, or we'll go back to Michael?
Well, I think one more detail. First of all, Michael, you have regards from Jennifer from CoinDesk TV. I just had an interview with her.
Great. Good.
And she mentioned that you were co-founders in one of the pre-CoinDesk company. But yeah, she asked questions about how we finance those $100 million of acquisition. So one of the exciting parts of the day that we've got some financing from private credit funds, which is pretty typical and traditional, but also we've got an on-chain loan through our partner Morpho, which is again super exciting that we're capable to use our treasury, our PROPY tokens, other cryptocurrencies, but mostly PROPY tokens, to get a loan in USDC and then acquire an existing legacy business and bring it on chain. But the biggest part of this on chain loan is that, and we will be launching a white paper next week, is that it's a part of the buyback token program, where when we use a loan backed by PROPY tokens, we also buy the tokens back with part of the profits of the title companies that we acquire. Normally, those title companies have between 20 to 30% margin. So in $100 million roll up, that would be anywhere between $20 to $30 million profit, which would double. So it would be 40 to 60% margin, bringing our company to even more profitability and more revenue downstream. But also those 20 to 40 to $60 million of profits will be utilized to acquire PROPY tokens back, so that we build the treasury of our tokens for the moment when we go public. So I think that's pretty exciting that we have this partnership with Morpho. They're also partners with Coinbase, where if you remember last year, we made a massive partnership. So yeah, everything is coming together and we're super excited.
What's exciting about that, Natalia, is you've basically built your own micro economy, and what you just described to me is effectively a similar function to the Federal Reserve of this country. So you actually can you've created a mechanism for exchange. You've created a reserve mechanism. You can inflate and deflate your own microeconomy and allow everyone to make money. It's just, you've got all the pieces now.
Thank you, Bill. Yes, and it was kind of a surprise for us how it turned out as this cycle of microeconomy without planning or expectations maybe a year or 2 years ago, and suddenly it's all happening. And I think it's due to the friendly regulatory environment and all the good companies collaborating between each other. And finally, the consumer is looking for not only those high risk returns in crypto, but also risk adjusted returns backed by real businesses. So yeah, I agree. The way it evolved, it's incredible, and we're very happy that it all comes together like this
Well,
today.
kudos to you, because I think you saw the need for these different functions. Because I think, just working on only the technology doesn't get it done, but creating the right alignment of economic incentives is what really has to happen. And through the other mechanisms you've created through the PROPY token and the exchange mechanisms, you've got it all, plus the regulatory environment to allow the unlock.
Guys, I think we'd be missing a big opportunity if we didn't throw a question back at Bill here, because as many of you would know, Bill has a pretty impressive track record of investing, and most importantly, at really early stage, right? He's first investor in Zoom, and there's one other, and a bunch of others, Bitfury, and the other one that I want to allude to here, Bill, I want to get your thoughts on, of course, is Canva, which was founded by a woman as well, and from my hometown of Perth, which I'm always impressed with. But Canva is one of the most used AI. I think you probably know. I think it's you could tell us this. I think it's the second most used or something AI service in the world. Maybe you don't think about that it is. But at an early stage, you were able to spot the capacity of somebody, like Linda there and Natalia here, to sort of be able to build forward into the complexity you were just describing, right? Like a lot of people come to market with a big idea, but it's the execution from that very early stage right through to many years later of all of the complexity being dealt with at the same time. What do you look for in an approach and in a leader to be able to get through that?
Well, so this has been honed for many decades. I started in venture capital in 1991, just to frame it a bit, which pre-internet. And if you can imagine, the kinds of companies that I first funded were silicon companies. So those were very long projects. And in the era that I started, you actually had to build a fab. I do have badge #1 at Taiwan Semiconductor, which today is $1 trillion business, but market cap. But I would have to gather up enough capital to build gigantic factories that might be, $500, $700 million that were selling parts that were like $10. So we had to go for volume to make anything live. And so that carried through to today, where I think the intersection, it is about the person, but it's also size of market. So I tune towards very big markets that are undergoing a structural change. I did learn this from Don Valentine. Don Valentine was he's the founder of Sequoia, and his fund too backed a startup I was at along with Jensen Huang called LSI Logic. And when I went into venture, I tagged along with him. I did get stuck in an airport after a board meeting one day. Our flight got canceled, and I asked Don. I said, Don, how can I be good at this business? This is in my 20s. And he basically said, it's very simple, son. You just have to get 3 things right. Market, management, and don't overpay. And the market reference is you have to have a very big market. And he also said, if you have the best team in the world and infinite money and you pick the wrong market, you will lose money every time. So get into the right space at the right time and the right management. And I think with respect to your question, Michael, Natalia and Melanie from Canva, Eric from Zoom, they are people that are mission driven. They are not mercenaries. When I've funded teams where people are in it just to make money, when the going gets tough, they often, like mercenaries, just leave. And they just don't, their heart's not in it. So I think somebody that has the passion, leadership, charisma, the ability to put together a great team and ride through cycles, that is fundamental to this whole game of company building. And Natalia has that. And the market timing is finally right. You have to be in front of the wave, but not too far in front of the wave. There's another phrase I learned from Don: being early is a lot like being wrong. And Natalia and I, and you, Michael, in some cases, we've all felt that feeling that we're just wrong, but in fact, we were all just early.
Yeah.
And I think the wave kind of come to you, and the wave feels like it's arriving now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you. It means a lot coming from you, and I'm so grateful for you helping along the way with having Hernando de Soto last year at our summit, and a lot of introductions and just believing and supporting along the way. It means a lot that you started the mission of bringing real estate on chain too early, but it was a motivation for me personally and for our team together with Michael Casey here. So I'm truly grateful for your
Cheering
support.
for you the whole way. I just want to see it happen. And you know what? It's happening everywhere, not just real estate now. Obviously, the term that Michael referred to, RWA, real world assets, whether it's NASDAQ and NYSE, they have secret projects to put securities, tokenized securities. BlackRock and Blackstone are doing private credit. So it's all going to happen. And I think the complexity of real estate is a great barrier for you, because the AI part that you're doing, if you can lower that friction, this is an area that has so many little things that have to go into the data envelope that gets on the blockchain. It should be very sticky. So this segment leads itself to a natural, not a monopoly, but a clear winner. And I think your 5-year or 10-year, I forgot how long we've been looking at this space,
7, yeah.
your decade-long advantage, I don't think anybody's going to be able to break that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I truly believe that the stage of AI development is a perfect cornerstone now to bring everything we planned, everything we've written in our white papers to fruition. And Anthony, I know you also have launched an AI agent. And can you share a little bit more? What are you saying? Is it truly the answer to address all those complexities in certain areas, in certain industries?
Yeah, I don't think that anything is, a perfect solution, but it is very clear that the AI agents are better at doing a lot of things. I think they work 24/7. They've got better kind of analytical and computational power over a human. They're much cheaper. There's all these kind of different components, and the rate of learning or rate of improving is very high as well. And so, do I think it's a one-stop solution for every single problem? No. Do I think that it is something that is going to only continue, and we should likely expect these to become prevalent in everything in our life? Yes. And so I think what you guys are building, what we've built with CFO Sylvia, these are peeks into the future of where this is all heading. It's pretty exciting.
Can you share a little bit more what she can do?
From our end, just think of what a CFO or financial advisor could do. So you go in, you sign up, you authorize your bank account, your crypto account, your brokerage account, your credit cards. You can upload your private investments, your real estate, your car, your collectibles, kind of any asset. She tracks, your net worth and things like that. But then we've overlaid a bunch of state-of-the-art AI models, and you can start to talk with Sylvia about your own personal portfolio. So simple things like, what's my cash position? What's my debt to equity ratio? But then you can get a little bit more advanced, and you can ask her to do, a Monte Carlo simulation on your portfolio with 100,000 simulations and tell you where you'll be in 10 years. And then it gets really powerful when you start to do things like, let's say a US-China trade deal got announced. You could quickly ask Sylvia, how does the recent trade deal affect my portfolio? If you do it literally seconds after the announcement, it can go and understands what the trade deal is from the internet. It then looks at your personal portfolio, and it will give you an asset by asset breakdown of how the trade deal will impact you. And then you can do scenario planning as well. So, hey, if I reduce my tech exposure from 37% down to 20%, and I reallocate that capital to this other sector, how do you think that will affect me over the next 5 years? If we go into a recession tomorrow, what should I expect to happen to my portfolio? Those types of questions would normally take hours, days, weeks, and lots of people. And I always joke that, billionaires and very ultra high net worth or family offices, they have staff that does this stuff constantly. What we've been able to do is build that technology, democratize it to anyone with an internet connection. We offer it completely for free. We, anonymize and encrypt the data, and think that, it's going to have a pretty profound impact on people's finances.
That's amazing. And I can't wait our AI agent, Avery, to talk to your AI agent.
100%.
Awesome. Well, we will be wrapping soon. I would invite everyone to follow Avery. She has been a speaker here. I think we'll bring her back. I think we lost her, but we'll bring her back so you can follow Avery. We announced her today as our first escrow officer AI agent. We have big plans, maybe one day, to make her the first licensed AI agent, because a real estate transaction is a highly regulated transaction. There are laws, there are processes, and yet we have to do a lot of things manually, which of course provoking a lot of mistakes and fraud in the home buying process. So we're very ambitious with our roadmap. And I think we'll be wrapping with maybe final thoughts. Michael, Bill, and Anthony, final thoughts, and then I will close with the final roadmap ideas.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I mean, I think what's really interesting about the twin announcements that you have here, Natalia, is this. It feels like a really good story to tell. I'm a journalist, and I'd like to. If there's a good story, there's a good one. And to me, it's like these old title companies. Like in my mind, I think of them as the most antiquated, old stuffy places. With all due respect to them, I'm sure they've done a fine job over the years, and they certainly, as you said, they've got revenue, which is important. But the idea of bringing an on-chain agent into this environment is about as disruptive as you can imagine. So the twin idea of the roll-ups with Agent Avery coming together, it feels like disruption in the purest form right there and then. So I'm excited to see how that clash plays out.
Thank you, Michael. Bill or Anthony, final thoughts before we wrap up?
Yep. Let
Go
me
ahead,
just
Bill.
check. Sorry. Yeah, I just put a couple things in the chat thread to document some of the things we mentioned, and I think, as Michael said, this is a very complex area of real estate with too many pieces of human validation. And to the extent that Natalia's been able to automate that stuff, lower the friction, replicate scale on top of a high integrity database, it is game changing for the industry. So kudos to you, Natalia.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of PROPY. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you. And I think one of the first podcasts I ever had was with you, Anthony, years ago, maybe in 17 or 18, as soon as we launched the token sale and did the first ever transaction in the world on blockchain. So thank you for your long-term support and advocating for Bitcoin, advocating for home ownership, and now also introducing AI agent. So with the final thoughts on my side, of course, we're super excited that we're expanding, utilizing the crypto rails, the blockchain rails, the AI agent Avery, and expanding nationally, acquiring those title companies that have great values locally. They have great community impact locally. All they need is this technology. And as Anthony mentioned earlier, it's a way for us to disrupt this antiquated industry within. It's a $25 billion industry. We're looking to acquire between $100 to $300 million worth of title companies that are the best in the field, and then to disrupt the industry within with the best founders that we will be merging with. And then the end goal is full click experience. Buy a home, get your title, get finance, get a mortgage through our partners. Some of them are here listening. Truly the new generation to be excited, not only to buy crypto assets with a couple of clicks, but also to buy a home with a couple of. And AI allows us to find a property. So find quickly, don't wait, send money, send it quickly, don't wait, sign the papers, again, sign electronically, don't wait, and close on transactions Don't wait, just do it. With AI agent Avery, she helps to eliminate 70% of the manual work, getting rid of friction. As Bill Ty mentioned, it's very important and it's very promising AI to help us getting rid of this friction to truly move this asset into on-chain rails. I'll be having a number of interviews here in New York City at NASDAQ floor, New York Stock Exchange today, and tomorrow we'll have this fun activation live at Times Square at 7 p.m. Whoever is local to New York, please come, say hi, take pictures. Let's make it a fun experience of launching AI agent tomorrow on Times Square, New York. And I'm truly grateful for the entire community to follow us, support us on socials. And if you know any title companies anywhere in the country, please introduce us. We have a great incentive program to find the best title companies. So once again, thank you all for participating, and let's build this future together. Megan, maybe your final thoughts, so we say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, wow, I'm just thinking here on how impactful this space has been. It feels like every time we do a space with Propy and all these thought leaders, you know, a new emergence comes out of it, like the next iteration of what we've been building, right? And we're truly in execution mode. I like what Bill said earlier about like being early feels sometimes like a lot like being wrong, but Tim Draper was incredibly early in investing in Propy many years ago and had that vision. And you know, that's panning out. I mean, you guys are truly revolutionizing the entire system, right? And it's really cool to see that Agent Avery in action, and the first AI escrow officer automating 70% of closing tasks. It's incredible. Just to recap a little, the company executing a 100 million nationwide title roll-up, completed its second acquisition, and now guided by advisors like Michael Casey, Chris Campbell, and Dr. Michael Piwawar, ensuring that innovations both compliant and transformative. So, man, this is really what real-world adoption of blockchain and AI looks like, and real property, real automation, and real scale. I've really enjoyed this conversation with all of you. Just to echo what Natalia said, before we wrap up, one last reminder: tomorrow, Thursday, October 23rd, 7 p.m., Propy's activation, Agent Avery in Times Square.
Very nice, guys. Full transparency, I do hold Propy. I do believe in Propy for the big picture, for the long haul. I like what they're doing to tokenization of mortgages. Absolutely fantastic, guys. Let me know what you think of Propy. Do you hold Propy? Are you bullish on the tokenization of mortgages? Are you new to crypto? Is this your first cycle? Well, I have the perfect place for beginners, my friends. Check out the link down below in the description to our website. You're going to get everything you need over there. You got your newsletters every single time. They are updated weekly. I think they're updated weekly. All the latest of what's happened this week, my thoughts, a look ahead, all that stuff. You can also get my insights over the past week on projects, new projects, stuff like Avantis, Zebek, and Astir. That's what we kind of covered last week. You'll have all of our courses over here as well. Our courses, by the way, are free to all of our Patreon members. And on top of all that, guys, you can stay up to date on what else is going on. Yes, I am going to Tokyo, Japan next month to interview Hara. I am creating a 3-part mini documentary series covering my trip to Jasmine Labs, including all of my interviews and everything. So you're going to want to follow that as well. Followed also by the introduction of Blockchain Buzz, our new show where we bring in 3 of the top voices across YouTube, crypto YouTube, for an unfiltered roundtable on everything shaping the blockchain world. It's always random YouTubers, guys. You never know who's going to pop up. Could be your favorite YouTuber. Well, let's be honest, your second favorite YouTuber besides me, right? Last week we had the Crypto Otaku, we had Rule Black, and the ever controversial Believes Crypto. I'm excited about tomorrow's episode, guys. Every single Saturday, 6 p.m. Central. You can watch it right on our website or right here on YouTube. So check all of that out and more, guys, in one place. It is a free website. Our newsletter is free. The link to our trading group, our VIP group, is there as well, though, right at the top corner. If you want to join me and thousands of other members today, we drop trading videos over there. You can book one-on-one coaching calls. You can join our group coaching calls, and so much more. If you need portfolio structure guidance, whatever the case might be, microcap gems, or if you want to get in on our trading, we drop again daily trading videos over there. And if you're saying, well, Rob, I don't know how to trade, well, guess what? We have training courses for trading over there as well, and it's free to all of our Patreon members. So check it all out, guys. It's definitely worth a look. You got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.